Coming up, you get us talking from the inbox.
You're listening to Double Tap, your daily accessible technology show. Now, here's your hosts, Stephen Scott and Shaun Preece.
Hey guys, welcome along to another episode of Double Tap. Shaun Preece, how are you? I mean,
not old.
How are you?
Not
how
old.
Are you?
I'm not old. There.
Not
That's
old.
it. I'm not old. Before
Okay,
anyone says
hang on.
anything.
I said nothing. I just asked if you're okay because I got a message last night from you.
No.
Saying, I'm feeling a bit rough tonight. I don't feel great. And I was,
Can I just say,
great.
I didn't say it in that tone. I said it in particularly manly and brave and courageous tone. I'm not feeling well, Stephen Scott. I'm just letting you know.
Yeah, it's nothing like the message I got last night.
It was
I think your
me
WhatsApp
sniffling.
filter was on, the weak one.
I don't feel very well.
Please help. But yeah, so my immediate response was, great, now I need to find someone else to host the show.
Mm-hmm.
So I did reach out to our good friend Michael Babcock. I salute you, sir.
God bless you, Mickey B.
Absolutely. But he could stand down or lie down because he was actually in bed when I messaged him, and he probably still will be in bed as we record this today.
Or he'll turn up in any minute.
Yeah, and he doesn't get the message, and I did send him a message saying all's fine, but maybe he doesn't get it, and he'll just pop up during the show. We shall see. Stay tuned to Double Tap to find out.
He's welcome. Yes. No, You know what? I took Sarah she had a doctor's appointment last night. She's not been very well. And, as you sat there in the waiting room with people coughing all around you, when I came home, I actually had to go to bed. I was feeling really ill. It must have been
disease.
I'm so susceptible. I'm so easily controlled. It must have been placebo. I woke up this morning absolutely fine. So, yeah, I'm great. Thank you.
Do you know, it's the funny thing, right? So my mother-in-law and father-in-law were over helping us build the sofa. And my father-in-law has a cold. And that way I'm like, I'm really glad he came over and I'm really pleased he came. But I'm like, yeah, did you have to come over with a cold? Now I'm going to get a cold. Oh, God. I mean, I know you came out of your way. I know you were working all day and you came over here and you helped me. But yeah, you brought a cold.
Well, you know what to do. You show them into the living room where the sofa is and then shut the door and leave.
In fairness, though, my mother-in-law, that's exactly what she suggested I do. Just leave immediately. Get out of the way, Stephen. We'll deal with this.
Oh, but that's slightly different.
I have to be honest, I kind of like that approach because it's like, then there's not that awkwardness of me trying to figure out how to open a box.
We want it both ways, don't we?
Yeah.
It's like, don't judge me. I'm perfectly capable. And other times it's, yeah, you do it for me.
I want to sit and eat a biscuit and watch.
I just want to sit in the sofa when it's finished.
I'm so pathetic. But,
can I just say,
yes.
On you being pathetic, I'm going to leave that there.
Mm-hmm.
WhatsApp is fixed.
Hey! What does that mean? What do you mean it's fixed?
I did say the other day that my WhatsApp just stopped working on the computers. Desktop WhatsApp just wouldn't work. Not syncing, no new messages, couldn't send any messages. Mm-hmm. I rang up my internet provider. I reset my router. I updated my router. I uninstalled. I reset a laptop, reinstalled Windows and WhatsApp. Didn't make any difference. Today, it's just working. Just your messages are there. It's just, what was the problem? I have no idea. So, yes, if anyone else is having the same problem and it just fixed itself, I don't know either what happened.
And specifically, you're talking about using it on the computer, right? So it's connected via the phone. So, and the phone was fine, right? You have no issues on the phone.
The phone was working absolutely fine. And the computer WhatsApp, the desktop version of WhatsApp for Windows, would work as long as I used the mobile data connection and not my home Wi-Fi network. I had no idea what the problem was, but it's all fixed now, so I'm happy. So WhatsApp away. I'm ready.
Excellent. Okay. Well, there you go. That's another 50,000 messages to weed your way through. We can look forward to that. On that point, we are getting to your feedback. I know we are a little bit behind, and I apologize. We are working our way through your feedback, and we will, of course, get it on air. Some of you are even sending the feedback again, thinking that we've missed it the first time around. I promise you we haven't. Everything that comes in. I will say this, though. The amount of stuff that ends up in our junk folder, of no fault of yours, dear listener, but
really?
The amount of time I go through the junk folder now with a fine-tooth comb.
Oh, well, you better had.
That is a fine-tooth comb. I always wondered what that is.
Do you have a comb for your teeth?
That's what I was thinking. Why would you want a comb for your
no, wait.
Anyway.
That's not
or is it the actual bristles of the comb?
Yeah, I believe they are called teeth.
Are
the
they?
bristles of a comb. Yeah.
Oh, do you know, I love this show.
I know.
I
Who needs
think
AI?
I realised why people like this program, because you learn things.
Yes.
Mostly us. We learn things, and
they're
other
called
people
arms,
teach them.
not legs on
Well,
glasses.
that's just nonsense.
Where were
Anyway.
we going? Oh, yes. Keep sending that feedback. We are sorry. We are getting through it. There's just so
keep
much.
sending
It's
it.
amazing. Thank you.
Honestly, I no joke to tell you, if I was to open up the inbox and show you the amount of messages we receive on a daily basis, you'll kind of understand why we fall behind quite so easily. And of course, we're trying to cover all the news as well and give you all the updates. We've got some great stuff coming up this week for you, actually, because we are going to be virtually attending the Inclusive Africa conference that's taking place in Nairobi. Hello to all our Nairobi friends.
Hello.
Because I know there's lots of you in Nairobi listening, in Kenya, across Kenya, actually. So, hello to you all. And yes, we're going to be coming to you virtually from there as we attend the Inclusive Africa conference. And we're going to be hearing from people attending. Can't wait to hear about that, actually, because, it's a part of the world that we don't hear enough about. And, this conference, and I've been to a similar, it might be the same one, actually. It was a long time ago. There was a conference called Access Africa years ago that took place in Ghana. It took place for many years. I went to the one in Ghana. And it was an incredible event and a real, not using the pun, but an eye-opener. It really was an eye-opener to things that you just don't think about, the challenges that we don't think about. Mobility, for example, being one, trying to get around in places where there are no pavements, where there are no, we talk about the challenges we have on our pavements. What if you don't have any?
Yeah, no,
How do you deal with
absolutely
that?
true. Again,
yeah.
It's just a look outside of your own little bubble. It's fantastic. Some of the most interesting interviews we did at the Zero Project that time.
Yes.
Were from Africa. It was just some of the organizations doing amazing work there. They were just so interesting.
Yeah. Well, I loved my time in Ghana, and I really wished this year we could have been in Nairobi with you for the conference. Hopefully next year, assuming it's in Nairobi again, we may well get to you the next year, but couldn't do it in the time frame this year around. But we are going to be attending virtually, so we are going to be talking to people there. So if you are there and you hear someone chatting to the Double Tap team and you want to come up and say hello, then we'd love to say hello to you too if you're at the conference. Now, I say kick off. We started the show already,
yes,
and we're halfway in. But I want to mention Kelly and Company, our good friends over at Kelly and Company. Kelly MacDonald, of course, host of the show here on AMI Audio, and a great colleague, a great friend. And he had an announcement to make on yesterday's show. Have a listen to this.
I mentioned this on Twitter, asking people to gather for the show today. It's June 2nd, and we need to let you know that Kelly and Company will be coming to a close on June 27th. Our 8.5-year run will end on that date. Different reasons, folks. Taking resources from the program and allocating them elsewhere. Obviously, the media market is very different, and the wants out there are very different. So we're reacting to that at AMI Audio, and of course, the financial tightness that right now we're feeling like so many other broadcasters. And to bring this show to you, it costs us a reasonable amount of money. And we'd like to reallocate that money elsewhere and see what we can do for now. Obviously, all of us associated with the show, from the folks behind the scenes to all of us on air and the amazing contributors we've had over that 8.5 years, we feel very sad. I think a lot of us knew that the show was coming to its end, even when we launched back out here on YouTube and continued the show since last October. We haven't had a lot of time to get a lot of gravity on YouTube, but we know that all of you who check out the podcast, we really appreciate it. We really know you're out there, and we thank you.
Kelly is an absolute class act. He really is. And I just wanted to wish him well. It was a shocking announcement for all of us to hear that the show was coming to an end after 8 years. It's an incredible run. And Kelly's been part of AMI for many, many years, and will continue to be, I imagine, in some form. You can't keep a personality like that down. Come on.
No, he's just so good. He's just such a professional. And the team at Kelly & Co., they just, you should be so proud of yourself.
Yeah, 100%.
And it is sad, but you've got to look back at what you've done and what you've achieved. Absolutely amazing.
And I think, the point he makes about the changing landscape of media, I mean, look, it is impossible to avoid. Every day when I put the news on, there's either another company talking about cutbacks or changes. The world is changing around us, and TV and media. is massively changing. You know, just listening to here in the UK, there's a network here called ITV. You've probably heard of it. And, you know, they've just made massive cuts to their daytime budget because people are just not tuning in the same way that they used to. So, you know, there are huge numbers of people losing jobs. It's horrible to hear. And it's especially sad to lose a great on-air colleague like Kelly. You know, I remember meeting Kelly back in 2019. First and only time we actually met in person. We've, of course, spoken many times. But the first time I met him, and larger than life is just not the words to even use for this guy. Even that's not enough. He's just a presence, a force. And he's a wonderful guy. He gave me the biggest hug I've ever had in my life. And he said, "You know what you got to do? You got to get out there. You got to go to events, and you got to be in front of people." And I remember him saying that to me. And I remember turning at that time to Mr. F and saying, "See, this is a good idea. Listen to this. Listen to this guy."
He's got so much personality. He's just amazing on air.
He is. He's Mr. AMI as far as I'm concerned. And he's a wonderful guy. Well, listen, we wish you all the best, Kels, and whatever's happening in the future. And of course, you always have a home here on Double Tap, so don't be a stranger here. But the show continues, of course, on YouTube and AMI Audio right through till the end of the month. So, just make sure you get in touch with him and give him your thoughts, because I know he's looking for your feedback on your thoughts on the shows over the past years that they've been on air. So to do send in to feedback at ami.ca. That's the station, the network email address, feedback at ami.ca. Give them some love. They deserve it.
Absolutely.
Okay, let's move on. I think we should get to some emails, shall we?
Let's do it.
Email. We get email. We get your email every day.
I'm not doing it.
Here's your mail today.
No.
Hello?
No,
Hello?
You know what? I've decided something. It's immature, Stephen Scott. You know, I'm 52 now. I can't be oofing all over the place. It's just not right. It's wrong. It's demeaning. I can't stop myself, though. Oof there!
Oh, you ruined it. I was going to say Dean in New Zealand is jumping up and down.
Sorry, Dean.
Saying,
Sorry.
"Finally."
What can I say? It's my long nose. I don't know what to do. I have to oofter.
It's actually heavy breathing that bothered him. I think there's a lot of things that bother him.
Yeah, it's just me.
You?
It's just existing. Sorry.
He just went quiet for a year. I think he'd be fine. Sean is taking the next season off.
Mickey B will be back.
Yeah, wouldn't it be great if Mickey B came on, the first thing he did was go, "Eesh! Oosh!" Because the thing is, in the emails, when Dean writes these emails, he always says "eeshing," which I think is quite funny, because it's ooshing. It's not eeshing, it's ooshing.
It's not eeshing. I mean, it does vary a little bit. It's oosh or oofta. I mean, come on, Dean, get it right. Why have you just brought Dean into it? Now I'm in trouble.
I know. We do have an email from Dean coming up a bit later, but we'll
that's
get to
okay
that.
then.
Anyway, first up, let's go to Victor.
Good evening, Shaun and Steve. Thank you very much. I listened to your broadcast. I am so excited and so happy with the way both of you analyze it and for your advice. I am so glad. Although I have been using Android right from time, but I'm not using, I'm using the cheap one. But my wife, my children, they are lovers of iPhone and they are all using iPhone. My wife has promised to buy me iPhone 16 Pro on my birthday coming up next month, so I am lucky. Thank you. God bless you all.
Oh, thank you, Victor.
Posted.
Yes, please do.
Yes, we want to know if you did get that birthday present or not. A cheap Android phone. Well, it's not necessarily a bad thing. You know, we have been moving towards the Android love here at Double Tap.
Mm-hmm.
Strange, I know, but absolutely. You know what? I've been using that Pixel 8 Pro a lot, Stephen Scott.
Oh, and so it starts.
It's very nice. There was a very interesting post, and I hate myself for not remembering who actually did it, but over on the Tech VI list, there's an interesting post of someone switching over to Android, and it's day 5-6 of Android switchover. Some really interesting recommendations over there of apps that they found, you know, like a equivalent to Apple Shortcuts, for example, or a podcast app, you know, things that they're so used to using on their iPhone that they just found an accessible equivalent on Android. And of course, accessibleandroid.com is a great resource as well. So,
yes.
But yes, let us know. Let us know if you did get your iPhone.
Yeah, thank you, Victor. Sorry, I didn't have the volume up fully as I started that, but I have to play this again.
Good evening.
That just makes me happy.
That is the best. Can we clip that and put that in
yes.
our sound cart board? Because
Good
I
evening.
love that. Good evening.
That just makes me feel happy hearing you
It
say that,
does,
Victor.
doesn't it?
I imagine every day. I want my house to say that to me when I walk in the door. But you have to now say good morning, and you have to say good afternoon as well, because otherwise, it's
Yes.
just endless nighttime in my house. In that
Please
case.
send us another one.
Yeah, please do it all again. Victor, thank you so much for the message, and let's see how you get on with the iPhone. It's interesting though, isn't it? Because like we were saying before, the whole thing with Android is that you have the choice. You know, the cheap thing sounds like, oh, that would be a negative, but it's not. And especially as the generations develop, going back, say, 3 or 4 generations now, or not maybe generations, but ranges, down in the range to, say, a Samsung A phone, for example, might have been a thing a while ago. You'd have gone, maybe not so much, but not today.
Do you know what, though? Is that more for the more, I don't know what word to use, nerdy, geeky, tech savvy? I don't know, whatever word you want to use. Because my kids, right, in their 20s, they don't care. They get the Samsung A phone. They have no interest in what phone they get, to be honest. Whereas, if you're following the technology, you always want the, top of the line one, right? But for most people, it's just a phone. They all do the same thing.
And also, let's be honest about it. If you're new to something like TalkBack or VoiceOver, you're probably going to be quite slow using the device anyway, right? You're probably going to have your speech set quite low or quite slow. You're going to be taking your time with those swipes and gestures. So you're not going to notice the kind of lag and things that you start to pick up on the more you get used to it. And that's even if there is much of it these days. I mean, like I was saying to you, the Motorola G54 that I've been playing with, pulled it out the other day, updated it. It's interesting because Negative Julian said he got to Android 15 on his. I'm still on Android 14. There's no option to upgrade that I can find to 15. So
really?
Yeah, I've gone through all I mean, it seems to be Motorola's, I guess, because it's a bit different on this phone, and I guess this is the way these phones tend to work. Like the settings are different between the Samsung, between the Pixel and the Motorola. When you go into the settings to do the upgrade, you look for updates and whatever. There's a different kind of menu layout, and that is where you have the option to upgrade or update the phone. And
it's usually under system in Android.
And it
settings,
is, but it's just a slightly different in the layout. It's just a slightly different way of layout. It's not hugely different. You can figure it out, but that's the thing with Android. There can be differences in between different systems.
That's what makes it so difficult to give advice that's identical for everyone.
Yeah.
It
can't
could
say
be
it's
slightly
here
different.
because it might be somewhere else on a different phone. But anyway, I went into it the other day and no, there was no option for Android 15. So I'll hopefully get there eventually. I did get TalkBack 16, so
Well, I got TalkBack 16 on my Pixel 5. So
yeah, that's right. Yeah.
That's running Android 14. So yeah, absolutely. Okay, Negative Julian. Stephen says you're wrong. Respond. You threw me under the bus with Dean.
Okay, right, I see. Okay, fine. I didn't say that at all. Negative Julian, I think you know that. But anyway, let's move on. Thank you, Victor. Now you've caused a war. Let's move on to Amy.
Hello, Stephen and Shaun. This is Amy Rule. I just wanted to update you on a few things and make a couple of comments. First of all, I got my Mantis 2 weeks ago. I'm in love with it and added speech immediately when it became available, and used the Braille display to conduct a meeting this morning, which was terrific. Also wanted to say, Shaun, you are correct. The Glide is to be put in front of you, not alongside of you. I know this because when I was practicing with it, that's what I struggled with, because I wanted to put it alongside of me, and I was told it really should be put in front of me for proper positioning of the camera.
Thank you.
The other thing I wanted to talk briefly about was the whole issue of blindness adjustment. I agree with you that mental health adjustment to blindness is very difficult, and it is key to making the transitions that people need to make in order to either seek employment or have fulfilling relationships, or just to do just the various things that we all do in life. And I do think it is very different if you're born blind, as I was, than it is if you have lost vision later. I think one of the things that's difficult is that in many situations, it's difficult to get both people who have enough experience and understanding of the topic to be helpful. And also, it's difficult to get funding, particularly for people who are not on the vocational rehabilitation track and who are not seeking employment. I provide mental health services and consult around the provision of mental health services around vision loss, and find that funding is really quite limited unless people are able to use federal funds or there are ample state funds available to provide mental health services. I think there are some ways around it. I've worked at establishing and augmenting peer support groups. I'm consulting with the state of Maine in hopes to increase the services available there to people, both who are and who are not seeking employment. But it is a very difficult issue with funding challenges, as well as a challenge regarding available professionals who really understand blindness well enough to provide the mentorship that I think can be most helpful.
Yeah, a lot to pick up on that, Amy, and you're absolutely right. I mean, at the end of the day, we need the support in many different ways. Mental health support, I think, is one of the biggest challenges we face in the blindness community, and it's one of those areas we're starting to talk about. I'm starting to hear some people talk about it, but it still feels very much like, I think the problem is people box these things off. This is my issue with identity politics generally, is that everything is boxed off, and it's like, well, you can't have mental health and blindness at the same time. It's which one is it? And it's like, no, they both come together, right? That's how it kind of goes.
I think mental health is one of the biggest issue when it comes to any disability, let alone blindness. I mean,
Of course it is.
because the state, or how you feel, right? The state of mind really deters what I can accomplish.
Yeah.
If I don't feel, 100%, then I'm not going to step out of that door. I just can't face it. And sometimes, it's nothing to do with my physical capabilities, because it's always the same. It's just mentally, I'm not up for it. I mentioned that I went to the doctor's yesterday, and it was an out of hours place, so somewhere completely new to us. And got out of the taxi and, shot off. The guy just went. I'm trying to find the door, and we had a group of people from the pavement. I got a feeling there may have been a bar the opposite side of it, shouting directions at us. And, the longer it took us to get it, and the more you feel sort of under that spotlight, you can feel it, just the anxiety growing and growing and growing. And it gets really awkward, and you just feel yourself starting to crumble. And, mental health support is incredible. And, I've got to say, it's very country specific. But even if you take the disability out of it, just in general, trying to get mental health support is incredibly underfunded and really difficult. That's why peer-to-peer and, these communities where we understand each other's issues, I think is so important. But it shouldn't just be the only option. There should be professional help out there.
Yeah, I mean, this kind of tells you all you need to know about blindness, right? So I was on a train coming to see you, actually, last week before. And we were sitting on the train, my wife and I had my cane on the table because it was getting close to the point where we're about to get off. The train, it's a British train, so it meant it was being cancelled at some point within the journey. And it was. So they were throwing us off one train onto another because apparently the train, wait till you hear this, the train didn't have enough battery power in it. They'd only charged the battery to 50%.
Oh,
and
did
so
you not have your battery pack
continue.
with you, Stephen?
I was going to offer
USB-C?
I had one of those Anchor ones. It's like 20,000 milliamps. I could have plugged it into the train and kept the thing going. That sounded like an absolute pile of horse doo-doo to me.
Yes.
But anyway, whatever. So I was sitting there waiting for the train to pull into this station, and a woman came up to me and she said, hi there. And I turned around like a celebrity would do, right? Like a celebrity would turn around and go, oh, not another autograph. I turned round as if to say, "Oh, what is it now about blindness you want to know?"
Oh.
And she said, and I that was in my mind, right? I didn't say anything. That was just in my head. It's like, oh, here we go, another interaction, right? That's just the mindset I was in.
Of course.
And she said, "Can I just ask, what is it we're doing here? What's actually happening?" She said, "I had my headphones on and I don't know what's happening." And I said, "Oh, actually, we're about to change onto another train because this train's being stopped." "Oh, that's wonderful. Thank you so much." And I thought, she came to me to ask this question?
I know.
That
Yes.
felt so unusual to me. That was so unusual to be stopped and asked, can you help me?
Yeah. Do you actually know what's going on? Because most of the
Yeah.
time, people just assume we're oblivious to absolutely everything.
Do you know what I don't like to assume women's ages. I'm going to say this. I think she was young. I'd say Gen Z or whatever that's the young these
I
days.
don't even know anymore. I'm so old. I don't know what generation we're on.
But I thought, this sounds like a young person, probably in her late, I'd say 20s. And I thought to myself, that's interesting. That she didn't see the cane and think, oh, there's no point asking him.
True.
And it's not like we were the only people in the carriage. There were loads of people around. But she came and asked me, and I thought that was something. But it's so true. You know, that whole thing you talk about, the spotlight being on you. I was telling a friend of mine, I was like, I remember my wife and I going to Portugal one year. We had a lovely holiday there. And I said, one of the things that annoys me about being blind is that you never are anonymous when you go anywhere.
No. You always feel like someone's watching you because most of the time they are.
It's like there's someone always ready. It's like people are kind of handing it off along the way as you walk along a street. It's like the next person along that you come closest to kind of gets activated into this help
But you know what?
role.
That's great. I love that.
I know, but it's just also but it's like I was saying to my friend, you two go walking on they were sighted friends, and I said, you two go walking along the beach, the beachfront or whatever, and you're holding hands, you're walking along, eating an ice cream, whatever it is, and you're anonymous, you're just part of the world, right? But when we're walking along the road, canes banging window wipers, in a car.
Yes.
Because that's exactly what it's like. And then both of us marching along the road, holding hands, granted, but still people kind of like, oh, because either diving out of your way or, oh, look at that, or, oh, watch out for the, and it's like you just cannot be anonymous. And all of that creates a pressure on you.
It does.
It creates a pressure on you to perform and not screw up. Because
Again,
if you
though,
screw up, then people are going to
Yes.
be, oh, well, we expected that to happen. We knew he was going to fall off the edge of that curb, walk in front of that bus, whatever. That was inevitably going to happen, right? Because he's blind.
But again, though, depending on your state of mind, sometimes you're fine with that. I can deal with that.
Yeah,
It's fine.
and
And
I
other
think-
times, I just want to, roll into a ball. It's terrible. The other thing was they were shouting all directions and they just weren't helping. It was just like a barrage of sound, and you just feel yourself. Actually, if you say nothing, I'm going to find it. It's fine. Just
I know.
Shut up for a minute.
I get it all the time from people will do this thing. When I was at the wedding last week, and I always say to people, just carry on, I'll find my way. Just you carry on, because the problem is I need space in front of me so I can use my cane properly.
Yes.
And if you're and what happens is people always do this thing. Well, they just constantly stop in front of me and go, "Are you all right?" And I'm like, "I'll be fine if you would just move.
Oh,
I'll figure it out, but you got to move."
that's the last wedding you'll be going to.
Well, okay, I wasn't saying it like that. That is in my head how I was saying it.
Yes.
We'll tell each other that's how we were feeling it. But, it was like, it's just like, just keep going. I'll figure it out, It's like, I'm not incapable of figuring out how to walk through a room. It's like, if you just keep talking and just keep going, I'll find you. And if I lose you, I'll find you again. I'm not going to walk off the edge of the earth.
Yeah.
It's just like, sometimes you just leave me alone, it gets irritating after a while. But like you say, it's this sense of incapability. We talk about disability, but actually it's incapability is the biggest problem. That's what people think. That's what they think. That's the result of disability, I think. But
it's difficult. I kind of understand it in some ways. Like I can't, if I can't find a door, then surely what can I do? But obviously we know it doesn't work like that.
Well,
Just
look,
because
how many times have we said, and I just did it yesterday again for the millionth time, was I walked into the, when I walked through the door, I walked into the side.
Yeah.
What do you call that? The door frame.
Yes.
Just me.
Wow. Incapable.
My words are my tools, gentlemen and ladies. I walked through the frame door and bumped right into it. And, again, for the millionth time I did it. And I thought, oh, why can't I walk through a door frame properly?
Oh, I know.
But you just misjudge it. And you can't, some days you laugh and some days you get annoyed and you get over it very quickly.
Sometimes you go home.
I think the thing
Go to
is,
bed.
yeah, that's right. Yeah, sometimes you go back to your own house and yeah. But I think you know what it is. I think you have to allow yourself that irritation as well. I think that's the thing.
You do.
The pressure will lift if you allow yourself to feel it a bit. Because what will happen is everyone around you will say, "Oh, don't feel like that. Oh, no, it's okay. No, don't worry." No, actually allow yourself to be a little bit annoyed every so often. Because if you don't, it builds up, and that's not a good place to be either. That's the biggest issue. I think that's what causes a lot of the mental health challenges. Because we're having to perform. We're having to perform for our families. We're having to tell everyone everything's okay all the time. I'm fine. And even if you're not fine, you're just saying it because it's like if I allow for a second you to think that I'm not okay, then that's it. That's all I'm going to hear.
That perception you have of me already of being incapable because, hey, he's not, 100% all the time.
But then my mother and father-in-law come over and they want to fix the sofa and I'm like, bye!
Yeah.
So, it's like...
Hey, we're complex. What can I say?
Exactly. Well, that's it. That's exactly it. We're people, right? We're all people. We're all screw-ups in one way or another, And
some of us are lazy, like me.
Oh, yeah. And like me. Absolutely. Especially when it comes to building sofas.
We should just say as well, congratulations on the Mantis. Yes, I know Stephen loves his.
Yeah, isn't it great? Someone had got in touch with me on Mastodon, well, not directly to me, but someone had got in touch asking questions about the Mantis with the Mac. And they were asking the question, how do you find it on the Mac versus using it on the PC? My takeaway on that was, I think it's great on the Mac. I think it's partly because I think that the settings within JAWS for Braille to me are just a little bit, it feels like,
Are you listening, Matt?
Here's the thing.
Listen to him.
I have often said that buying a Braille display is like joining a secret society. It feels like there's a lot of codes and numbers and things. I feel like, I've just taken a job being in charge of nuclear defense. And it's like, okay, I thought I was working at McDonald's, right? Suddenly I don't know what I'm to do and I'm terrified to press any buttons in case I blow the world up, right? So, with a Braille display, I feel it's like there's all these things that I just don't quite understand. This language that seems to come with it. The settings, it talks about structured mode versus this. And I'm like, what does structured mode even mean? I don't have a clue what that even means. I better leave it in structured mode because I don't know what the alternative is.
Which is exactly how everyone feels who picks up a smartphone for the first time or turns on a laptop for the first time. It's exactly the same. It's a new technology
it's the language
that you
of it,
don't know.
Yeah. So, what I think is with the Mac, the settings seem a little bit more understandable from the basic level. So if you're coming to it for the first time, the language of the settings just feels a bit more, okay, that kind of makes sense. Or, it kind of is very specific around the type of things, the elements you want on the screen of the display.
Yeah.
And so I feel I can control it more. And for that reason, I actually prefer it. And the other question that was asked, and this is a great question, was about latency. And there is a reality with Braille displays that you will have a lot more latency. Well, a lot more, but you will have latency with a Bluetooth display. But remember, of course, you can plug them in. That's the thing. And I do with the Mac. I plug it in because A, it's connected directly and it's being charged all the time. So I don't have to worry about, having the battery die on it. Not that it really ever does. But, I don't have that issue. But I do lose all the issues with latency. I really like the Mantis. I think it's a great... It's funny because I remembered the other day, by the way, we had a listener. I can't remember what I called the listener or who named the person wrongly on the system here. I'll blame someone. I'll blame you.
It wasn't me. Oh, yeah. Was it Francis?
Francis, that's right. It wasn't Francis. Yeah. It was Ronnie. I'm convinced it was Ronnie.
Okay.
Because I remember Ronnie getting in touch, and I could be totally wrong, but I think it was Ronnie who asked the question about, finding a Braille display with audio output and, the Braille display and all that. I know you wanted Perkins input, and someone said to me, why didn't you in that answer talk about the Mantis? And I said, because the Mantis is QWERTY input. It's not Perkins input. So it's different.
Yeah.
But I do think of all of them, I think that the Mantis Q40 is just the perfect all-in-one because you've got the QWERTY input. You don't have, especially for someone new to Braille or someone who's coming back to Braille after a while, you don't have to go and relearn how to type, control this or command that, or, you don't have to do any of that stuff.
What chords are the computer modifiers or whatever, yeah.
If you can touch type and you know how your way around a computer, you've got the keyboard to do that. But it's the Braille output you're looking for. And it really did speed me up. It really did speed me up in getting to grips with using a Braille display because I was focused then on the actual Braille display itself and not the input part, which has kind of put me off. Because I love the little, like the HumanWare BI20X. I love that. I love the design of it. But I can only really use it with my phone because I don't really understand how to use it fully with a computer. Or I use it as a standalone, but I wouldn't necessarily want to use it with a computer at this stage because I don't feel comfortable enough with it.
Yeah. Have you got hands on with the Orbit? Was it Q40 yet?
Coming soon. They are sending me one.
Are
hasn't
they?
arrived
Good.
yet. Yeah, they are going to be sending one. Sending out a few things actually. Orbit. What's the Read?
Research.
Orbit Read.
Oh, yeah, the Read, yeah.
No, I'm talking rubbish. Orbit Player. That's what I'm thinking of. The Orbit Player. I don't know where Read came from.
I thought
or Cam Read I'm getting mixed up with. Yeah, too many brands.
Yes,
just all goes into my head and becomes mush. But yeah, the Orbit Reader. No, Player.
Wow,
I'm not in charge of marketing at Orbit, can you tell? But yeah, the Orbit Player's coming soon. That's due out this month, actually. So we should be getting hands-on with that pretty soon.
Well, I'm just interested to see you compare the Mantis to the Q40.
Well, the Q40 from... Yes, I'm very excited to. Very excited to do that, yeah. Okay, look, we better take a break because we haven't. But let's take a short break. We'll tell you how you can get involved with the show. And also, we've got some news in the newsletter coming up for you as well, which launches today.
Get in touch with Double Tap. Email feedback at doubletaponair.com. Leave us a voicemail at 1-877-803-4567. And now you can send an audio or video message to us on WhatsApp. That number is 1-613-481-0144.
So we've been talking a lot about the newsletter over the past couple of weeks, and we know we've had some interesting challenges getting you subscribed to it. Hopefully we're getting through that and getting the resolve fixed. If you haven't already tried to sign up, we've changed the process a little bit. We've got a new form for you to sign up with, so hopefully that'll be easier. And I don't think it was the form so much, though. I think it was the captcha that was coming up in between. And it's not a captcha, it's a verify you're human thing. It doesn't ask you to do anything. It just does this thing that websites do nowadays. You don't even have to tick a box. It just does it. But I think some browsers were kind of pushing away. I got an email from someone yesterday saying they used Microsoft Edge and it was fine. I know some people say they use Chrome and it's fine. So if you've got one of those browsers, maybe give it a try there. doubletaponair.com/subscribe, and that will get you our brand new, shiny, beautiful newsletter, which drops today and gives you a chance to look back on an amazing month of content. And we look forward to doing this every month for you. But in addition to that, you're going to get that extra podcast feed that you can put into your device. And there'll be more details coming very soon to the website that will tell you how you can get that feed into your various devices and apps. So yeah, keep checking out doubletaponair.com for all the details on that. And like I say, if you cannot find your way to subscribing to it or getting to it, get in touch with us directly here, feedback at doubletaponair.com, or call us on our number as you've just heard, and you can let us know and we'll get you added and get you the content, because we're going to be doing this every week. We're going to be adding a little bit of extra, just a little bit of extra.
Yeah, because 5 episodes isn't enough, apparently, Stephen Scott.
It's never enough for me, no. And Mr. F has said enough, all right, enough. We only need 5 on AMI audio. That's all you're getting.
I don't want any more.
I don't want them.
Go off and do your own. Okay.
So, yeah, we're just going rogue, basically. That's what you call it, going rogue.
Oh, there's the name. I
was thinking off air, because I thought, we're on air, right? And this show's off air. So
I do like that.
Air, but I kind of like gone rogue as well. I don't know, I can't decide.
Makes it sound cooler.
Feedback at doubletaponair.com. Okay, let's get some more emails. Dan's here.
Hi, Stephen and Shaun. Your comment on a recent episode about unfair compensation resonated with me. I have participated in numerous studies where I was only offered a gift card. The value of the card was usually between $10 and $25. I can understand if an individual self-funded their research that their resources would be limited. I fail to see why a large non-profit organisation can't pay people to do their research. Some non-profit organisations have the nerve of telling survey participants that they will be entered into a drawing for a gift card. So this means they expect people to donate their time. Yet this organisation sends out begging letters about the value of their research and that the work they do makes a difference in the lives of blind people. These letters are written in a very emotional format to elicit sympathy. It's an example of doing something for us and not with us. Considering the high unemployment rate in the blind community, they could at least send a positive message by valuing us enough to provide financial compensation. Would a sighted person work merely to receive gift cards to buy things they don't want or need? To add insult to injury, these organisations send out their fundraising letters in print. Some of the worst offenders are guide dog schools. They send us pictures of dogs we can't see. I remember when I was growing up that the Library for the Blind in the US state in which I lived sent out a print calendar with pictures of guide dogs for each month. How insulting. Thanks, Dan.
Yeah, I think this is a major issue. We got to address this. You know, this is a big issue. That there's a lot of charities that do things in our name, but not necessarily with us at all. And you know, that's a great example of it. Now you can say, well, okay, they're trying to get money for guide dogs in this particular case. The example there, you know, so they give out these printed calendars and whatever. But you know, again, who are you actually working for? What is the purpose of your organization? You know, I can't understand why this is difficult when you think if you take the word blind out and you replace it with any other gender or ethnicity or whatever you can think of, you wouldn't be up in arms about these decisions.
Yeah, I don't know. It's tricky. Like with a printed guide dog calendar, of course, look, you know, for the general public, the draw in, if you like, is that look at the cute little puppies. Right. So, I mean, you could argue that the guide dog organization is targeting something that they will know will bring in the general public. Right. But it depends who that, obviously, if that calendar's targeted towards its clients, then that's absolutely ridiculous. But if it's targeted to bring in funds from the general public, it makes total sense.
But hang on. Here's the question, the follow up to that, which is who are the general public? So is the general public only sighted people? Only non-disabled people?
Well,
is that who the general public is?
In this example, yes. Yeah.
Is that what you think the general public is?
Yeah,
are we not general public? Are we not part of that?
Well, no, not in this example. Not in the case of if they're trying to... I mean, we would be service users rather than the general public. I mean, I know what you're saying. Yes, of course. We're not...
Well, what I'm saying is that the clients are one thing, but... What I'm saying is if you're eliciting funds from people for charitable work, is it only sighted non-disabled people that can put their hand in their pocket?
Okay, what merchandise from the guide dogs would you pay money for?
It's not about buying merchandise. I'm saying if you're trying to market to me, if you're saying to me, give money to my organization, are you only reaching out to people who are non-disabled? Is that who you think?
Yes, because they think we have no money.
Put money. That's exactly it. They think that blind people are never going to put money in. And it's like, you know, there's lots of people out there who are blind, who are earning good money, who might want to contribute. Who might say, hey, do you know what, I'll pay money. No,
we're pushing the point there.
No, absolutely
how often do we
not.
say about the employment stats here? Look, the truth of the matter is how much of funds do come from blind people when it comes to those sort of organisations. A lot of blind people don't have the money spare as much as they would like to. They just don't.
Yes, that may be true, but there are also many people who will. And those people...
Many?
I mean, I was at the NFB convention in God knows whatever year it was, and I met so many blind lawyers. You telling me that they're all on a pittance of wages?
So many,
I don't
of
think
course.
So.
Yeah, I can't move around here for all the blind lawyers.
You should hang around an NFB convention. There's plenty of them, I'll tell you. You're looking for a lawyer, you'll find one there. You know, and that was the point. And there were accountants and there were people in employment, right? I'm not saying that there's no blind people out there working. That's a myth.
I do, yeah. I totally understand what you're saying, but I can just see from the general rule would be that if you're trying to raise funds, then a lovely fluffy guide dog photo is gonna do it for most people. I just think that's fine. But when I come back to your general point there, you're right about the and we keep saying this, right? Something that keeps coming up, and again, it seems like a change in direction. The putting value on what we do. I'm not talking about us. I mean us as a community and what we're able to offer. And I think you're right. If we're doing research, if we're doing studies, you know what I'm sick of? The times I used to go to the eye hospital and, is it okay if someone comes in to have a look at you? And you say, okay, yeah, it's fine. A trainee wants to look at my retina to see the signs of RP. Absolutely fine. But if that turns into 30 minutes and then a whole gaggle of people coming in and then I'm moving to another room and having an eye drop to dilute my pupils so they can have a better look, I'm sorry, that's my time. I'm not here, as a prop. And I think there should be something in that. We do need to put value on us. So I do agree with that.
Yeah, and look, that's Dan's point, right? Is ultimately
no, absolutely. I agree with him.
And what we're talking about here is, an organization that is on one hand, eliciting funds for its work, but then when it comes to blind people, enter into a prize draw to win a gift card for your time. It's like, really? It disgusts me, frankly. It disgusts me that it happened. No, it does. Because it's like internships, it's the same kind of thing, and I know that's a common practice as well. And it's like tipping. You go to a restaurant and you tip because, the restaurant owner can't be bothered to pay his staff an actual wage. So it's left up to everyone else to pay the wages on his or her behalf. It's not good enough. I'm sorry, it's not good enough. And it's the same across the board on all of these things. If we're doing a job, we should be paid for it. And I would actually say to any blind or disabled person who's asked to do these things, say no. Just say no. Unless you're paying me, no. Because, look, are you telling me that the people sitting in that room, whatever it is, they're not getting paid?
Okay. Let me throw a wrench into this then. What about what's it called? The AIM web survey.
WebAIM survey, yeah.
Yeah. So we were talking about the lack of response in the last one. I think it was the last one. Where, the numbers were pretty low with people who got involved in that. So the stats on what screen readers people are using, what browsers, things like that. Are you saying people shouldn't take part in that, and in fact, they should be paid to take part in that?
I think a survey is different. It's an optional
it's not
choice.
Black and white. That's right. No, I agree with you. I don't think it is.
And it's a public survey, right? This is something that goes out. We get public surveys all the time and all kinds of things. I think you choose to, what I would say, my argument at the time was, look, I'm not saying every blind person in the world should take part in it, but at the same time, we can't really be serious about the results of it if the numbers are so low.
If we don't take part in it, exactly.
We have to get involved in some way. But again, that's a choice thing, right? But if you're going to an organization or perhaps coming to you and saying, I want your advice, I want you to come to this place, and oftentimes that's how it works. It's not just a thing you do in your spare time.
That's the thing for me. I think you're absolutely right.
You're going to an
amount
event
of effort involved.
I was asked to do, I wouldn't say the organization, but I was asked to do something for an organization. It involved quite a hefty trip out of town that would, take me away for an overnight. And I was told that my train fare would be covered, but the hotel wouldn't.
Yes.
And I would get my, whatever it was, $50 Amazon gift card for, showing up. And I thought, I've got to weigh this up. That's 2 days I'm not here. That's a lot. That's quite a lot. And getting on a train and going south and doing all that stuff, that's quite a lot to deal with.
Yeah.
And you want me to do this for $50? I don't think so.
Yeah.
And, and I understand people will say, well, you can't complain if you're not involved. I get that. But equally, there has to be a value placed on our work. And if I was doing this for, and again, it's like everything else. It's like if a really small organization, and I've had this before, I've had organizations with very limited budgets. I know they have very little money. I know the people who work in the organization barely make a living themselves. They come and ask for help. I'm happy to help, right? I make that decision. I said, you know what? I'm going to help you because that's okay.
That's personal choice though, right? And I think that's what it always comes down to, personal choice, and not feeling guilt-tripped into anything.
So I remember back when I attended Microsoft Ability Summit, first and only time, not bitch and twisted about that at all. But they offered to pay me. They offered to pay me some money to be there, and they said, look, this is your fee essentially for turning up. And I said no at the time. And the reason I did that was because I didn't feel it was appropriate for me to take money for my appearance. I wanted to be objective, and I wanted to continue to be able to talk objectively about Microsoft and the work I do. So it didn't feel right for me to take money.
Hang on, was this offered before your appearance or
yes.
afterwards?
Oh, right. It certainly wasn't offered afterwards. I think if it had been offered afterwards, they'd have said, no, you're all right, thanks.
Okay, yeah.
And the point I'm making is that there was a choice there. right? I made a choice. I said no because it didn't fit into my values. It was better for me to turn up as an independent person and feel comfortable continuing to be independent and not feel like I was being paid by Microsoft to speak about anything.
Yeah, but surely you can still, accept a fee and still be independent and objective.
Well, that's a choice for the individual. And the point I'm making is that Microsoft gave me that choice, right? They said, well, look, we'll pay you. And I said, no, thanks. But the point is there was an offer made.
Yes.
That's what we want. That's where we want to get to. And I think it's really important that, huge organizations, especially like them, I expect that. I don't expect to get everything, or them to get my lived experience. I hate that phrase, but that lived experience, as they always call it, for free. Because, if it's valuable to you, it's valuable to you. And in my case, that's dollars.
True. Yeah, no, I can't disagree with that.
But yeah, anyway, we could talk about this all day. Let's move on because I've got a comment here from Gordon I think you're going to be pleased to hear, especially those of you with Hive heating systems in the UK.
Hello, Double Tappers. It's Gordon from Livingston in Scotland here. A little while ago, one other listener was on complaining about the Hive app no longer being accessible. Now, I have a Hive system. I don't go into the app very often because I've got a schedule set and I can control the thermostat through Lady A. But I went into the app and right enough, the schedule was completely inaccessible and I couldn't do much in the app at all. So I battled with Hive's AI chatbot for a good hour or so and got absolutely nowhere with it, except a lot of apologies. Eventually, I tracked down a phone number for their customer care team. I phoned, spoke to a lovely lady named Joyce, who was appalled to hear that the app was not accessible, and took a note and promised to get back to me. I did mention to them that I'd heard about it on the world's most listened to accessibility podcast for blind users. So she came back and asked me what was the name of the podcast. So maybe somebody at Hive's going to be listening to you. However, she did phone back a few days later and said that the team were working on it and they were very, very sorry and they would get a fix in as soon as possible. It was being treated as urgent. That was fine. I left it. This morning, I got an update to the Hive app. It came through. I went into the app. The schedule's back. And the app now seems to be accessible again. So there we are. The power of complaining and mentioning Double Tap, of course. So that's just a wee update for you. Loving the show as always. Keep up the great work. Speak soon. Ta-da.
Oh, round of applause for Gordon.
Absolutely.
By the way, because honestly, that is wonderful. Never mind us. You did it, Gordon. You got that solved, and that is. Also props to them for taking it so seriously. I think that's wonderful. I think that's absolutely wonderful.
Yeah,
It's funny actually. It came in at just an interesting moment for me because we have Hive heating too, and mine wasn't working at all. Let's just say user error was involved. I may have tripped over the box that was connected on the wall and pulled the cable out, and then I didn't realize that until I was trying to connect it, and it said, have you checked the power cables? And I'm like, of course I've checked the power. What, I think I'm a complete idiot? Of course I've checked the power. Oh, it's fell out. And then it all worked again. But then that meant I could use the app, and like Gordon, when I heard the message, I immediately went into the app store, updated the app, and it's all accessible again. So brilliant news.
No, you covered everything. Well done, Gordon. And let's give props to Hive for actually getting back to Gordon in the when he said, "I'll get back to you." I thought, and that was the last he ever heard.
Yes, right. Yes,
they took it seriously. You know what? I'm still looking for a replacement for my Google Nest thermostat, which will die when it comes to the smart side of it, the Echo speaker side of it, and Google Speaker, in October. So I'm looking for a new one. I will consider Hive now.
Yeah, well, I mean. Again, there's always a risk, right? There's always a risk.
Yeah,
and we're always one update away from another accessibility disaster.
Yeah. I would hope they would put something in place that it doesn't happen again. But this was their second, as far as I remember, their second red card, if you like, when it comes to accessibility in the apps. But I do like that response.
Yeah, can't complain about that. I mean, it's funny. I don't have time to get into it right now, and I will at some point. Rant incoming. But I've been talking recently about Sky TV in the UK. I've got a lot to say on this, and I have decided that one way I'm going to try and deal with my problems is to tweet at them every single day from here until it's fixed, as one part of my campaign against them on this, because
Wow.
I want this fixed. I want
Waging a
this
campaign.
solved. Yeah, this is ridiculous. Cannot get audio description on demand, which we've known for years. Now I can't get audio description on the content that's actually streamed live either. It is available, but you can't record it. So you can only watch audio description on TV that is live, and that is it. And even if you go into some of the on-demand channels that are third-party apps, of course, they're inaccessible with the voice guidance. That's another issue. But if you can get past all that and it starts playing the program, even they don't have audio description unless you use some third-party like the Apple TV to do it. So I'm kind of wondering right now, what exactly am I paying for? It is not accessibility. And this is on the new Sky Glass system. Is not good. And I'm going to be talking about it a lot more soon. But
A lot more.
Yeah. And I'm going to get very annoyed about this until it's fixed, because
And I
Sky
don't
is not
blame
good
you.
enough and it needs to get fixed now. Not next month, not next year. Now. You've had long enough. In fact, you've got a platform called Now. Maybe that's how to think about this. Get it
When
fixed
do we want it?
now.
Now.
We're out of time for today, but back tomorrow. Great conversations continue on Double Tap as they do. Thank you for your feedback. Shaun, thank you. Glad you're doing okay. And I'll catch you tomorrow.
Cheers. Bye-bye.